Welcome to Wellness Radio with Dr. Jeanette-Gallagher as your host. Her show discusses topics of health, wellness, and spirituality, and is about discovering your place in this great universe, from your cells to the cosmos. Along with her guest, in casual conversation, she strives to ask the difficult questions that may be holding you back from a vibrant life, and shares new ideas that may inspire you to make a change in your life that you only can see in your dreams. And now, here is Dr. Jeanette-Gallagher.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Wellness Radio. This is Dr. Jeanette-Gallagher, and it's a pleasure to have you with us here this evening. Tonight, we are going to explore a wonderful New Age children's book. Let's talk about creativity, living from the world outside of us, perhaps living in the world inside of us, and learning how to be creative, how to be able to dance in the ethers, how to be able to find something new to do each day. When we think about childhood, I know for myself, being in the late 60s, we always talk about we go outside and, lock the door, see you later. When the lights come on, it's time to come in. We always found something to do. We found somewhere to go. We found something to explore. Really, our world was not created for us. We created it ourselves. But then we came along into the 80s, 90s, and these early 2000s where outside is not as accessible. It's kind of a danger, stranger kind of place. And yet we look at it and we say, have we created the world for children to explore because of our fears as parents and elders? Our fears, our stories, our memories, and our experiences that we don't wish to repeat for children, so we keep them protected, shelled up, walled up, and not allowing their creative senses that they came in with to dance. Today, we're taking the roof off of that story, no more. That's what New Age children's books are all about. It's about saying, children are coming in free spirits. Let us dance with them and allow them to show us what's out there in the world today. What is it all about? We want to talk to them. We say, look at that flower. It's growing straight up and down. Isn't that really cool? It's growing to the sun. And they may lay down in the grass and say, it looks sideways to me. From their point of view, what is the world all about? Today, I have two guests with me. Today, my guest is Brenda Faatz. She has written the book, Now What? And her co-author, who did the pictures, is Peter Trimarco. Brenda and Peter, thank you so much for joining us today. It's a pleasure to have you with us.
We're thrilled to be here.
Thank you for having us.
I'm so excited to have you on about this book, Now What? Because, really, as I set my hand on the book, I said, it's so creative. It's almost like if you think of a glitter gun, when you just pop it and all the glitter sparkles out, it's kind of that kind of a creative book, don't you think?
I love that description.
Yeah, I love it. I mean, I was the one who brought the crayons to the party and colored it. So, yeah, that's what it felt like working on it.
Because I think really, truly, what that's all about, when you think of the glitter gun, I share that all the time with elders, especially when we talk about end of life or assisted living with elders. I say it's just like a glitter gun. That's all potential. Look at all of that sunlight sparkling. You don't have a story. You don't have anything. You just sit there and breathe in the moment. And isn't that truly what your book is about, is potential and breathing in and just saying, ooh, so exciting. There's so much out there. It's magical. Yes?
Absolutely.
Yeah. I think that also, too, when we talk about your book, Now What, as a New Age children's book, you're really writing a story about a child who, we won't give the whole story away, but a child who has toys and brings them out and plays, and they get bored, they break down, they're just not kind of amusing them enough. They're finished with it. And truly, if you look at children these days, we say, what are the things that stimulate them to be able to want to play or do something? And we want to look at them as elders and we say, but they're not playing anymore. Do they need another toy? Do they need another game? They're bored. And we always want to fill that space. Isn't that space the place we're talking about today?
Absolutely. We want them to discover. That's the space where they can discover.
A lot of times it's just the only toy, as in this book, and we'll give away a little bit. It's as simple as a cardboard box or a musical instrument, and it's what they do with it. And they discover different ways to play, but they're really, the two main characters they're discovering each other because they come from very different parts of the world, and they do a lot of discovery together. So that's the play that's going on, I think.
Yeah, and I think it's truly about coming back into yourself to find out what the world's about. The world is not about what you can buy on the internet or what comes, or what amuses your mind or keeps your thoughts busy. It's about what you can create from inside of you and then be able to share and connect with another person. Isn't that a true soul and spirit connection that you're developing in young children?
Yes, we hope so. We hope so.
One of the things that I see, too, is that it seems, especially these days, so many kids, their thumbs are going to work and they have to be constantly entertained and have things thrown at them. And what we try to do in this book is walk that line where it's getting past that and using your imagination to create the opportunities. And it's really getting back to a simpler time. There's no digital in this at all. It's everything is made up and music related and dance and but it comes from pure imagination. They aren't working with a lot of props. They create the props. And that's child's play.
Someone had said something to me one time, and I always know things show up for a reason, and they said, you cannot create something from nothing. And I said, you're a non-alchemist. That's who you are. You don't know what magic is. You don't know how things can grow and just, I don't even have any words for how can you not see the magic of the world around you. That's all alchemy. And it's sort of like if you looked at the ground in the winter and then in the spring there were flowers, something came from nothing. Do you have to have the real experience or the real definition? Let's take it down to microorganisms. No. But what we're talking about is you can see it evolving in front of you. Isn't that what child's play is about?
Yeah, absolutely. They can see so clearly things that are not there to older people's eyes, or to people who haven't allowed themselves the time and space to discover, what's inside and what is unseen by the naked eye sometimes.
I think my most favorite thing when I was young was I would always lay down in the grass. We lived in the Northeast, so it was pretty good. They didn't have any red ants like they do where I am, and they didn't have the ticks that they've got now. So, but we would lay down in the grass all the time, like maybe all day, and it was always watching clouds. And what do you do with clouds? You see faces in them. You see shapes. You watch them as they dive, or you close your eyes, and 2 seconds they're there, 2 seconds they're not. And now I look at a lot of the photos I've taken in the past, probably 20 years, I've got maybe over 100,000, probably better than a third of them are clouds. And I said, do you see that heart there? Do you see that lady's face there? It's all about pareidolia. What do you see inside of something else? Isn't that something we want to nurture in people?
Oh, absolutely.
Sometimes that's where, as a visual artist, I'll get ideas, see things in there. But I think that just walking this planet, hopefully you get ideas from looking at the clouds. You don't have to be an illustrator to do that. Just have a little imagination. It's in this book, and it was an interesting experience for us going through creating it because we were really talking about simple experiences.
Right.
And what you do with them, seeing something that's there. Like the children, they were playing with sidewalk chalk, but it rained, so it got all washed out. Well, it actually created an opportunity because then they started to see designs that weren't there, and they added to it, and they created their own world out of that. And that's kind of the idea, is you see what's there. It's nature's already giving you the palette, and now you get to go play with it. You know, that's truly letting go. It's truly letting go and absolutely being in the moment.
Because also, too, at the end of the book, you know, like when you have a painting, you know, with chalk and stuff, and let's say it starts to rain, now you have paint. Sort of like, whoa, okay, what am I going to make now? You know what I mean? It's sort of like, that is totally freeing to see, you know? It's sort of, what can you make from something else? There goes that alchemy again, you know? It's definitely highlighting their eyes, what they can do. It's sort of like when you have a broken shoelace. Well, it doesn't work anymore. You know, some parents will just throw out the shoes, you know, instead of buying new shoelaces. Or if you look at another child, they might string 2 or 3 of them together and say, now I have rainbow shoelaces. Look at that. Yeah?
That's opportunity now.
Right.
But, and you absolutely, and that's what, again, we talk about the messaging in this book, and it's which Brenda wraps the words around. It's just absolutely being in the moment, and you can't see things if you aren't in the moment. You can't be looking backwards or projecting. It's just if you're right there, it's going to evolve, and that simply is where these characters are going in this. As heady as it sounds, it's just a comical romp, but it's where it's going is fun.
What I also liked about the book, too, Brenda and Peter, is that the artwork is absolutely fabulous, and it creates a vision in a child's eyes. However, they can look at the artwork, and they can also say, oh, what is that? And you almost want to see them. It almost needs to be a pop-up book, because you know where those boxes are. They need to pop up, and you say, "Oh, but maybe there's something under there." You know what I mean? Or maybe under the back at the end where it says, about. With the rain, with the paint, you can have a big bucket and it could have all colors pop out or something, So maybe you need to do a pop-up next. But anyway, I think possibly that's when you have children, you want to read the page to them, let them look at the artwork and say, what do you think next? And you can see sometimes kids will take their finger and literally go at the page, wanting to move it to see what's under it. And then you ask them their thoughts. And when you ask them their thoughts, say, oh, let's write that down on the page for next time. Because your book is large enough and it has a lot of white space. And I've always said you should always make a book a journal. Write down what the kids say, initial it, and date it. Always date it. And when you read the book again, say, oh, we thought that was that last time. Let's see what could we find today. Isn't that what the reader's job is with a New Age children's book?
Oh, I love that idea. I absolutely love that. We're trying to open the conversations, just like you said, and open the eyes, right? Mm-hmm. One of the lines in the book, with wide open wonder, they saw with new eyes, right? So exactly what you're saying. And I love being able to reflect back on what you saw last time and what's different this time. What has changed for you, or are you still seeing that? And, it's beautiful. I love it.
Well, because, too, also grandmothers are reading the books. The grandmothers may have passed away. Books get passed on to other children. So you have the stories there. It's kind of like a legacy thing. We have our phones with all of our pictures, and it's stored in some Lord knows what kind of cloud these days. But there's still a few lingering children's books, and that's why you want a hard copy children's book to be able to do that. Do you think that possibly that might start a legacy for the kids to be able to save?
Oh, I hope so.
One of the things that now we talked enough about the visual, but I got to tell you something. This is a book that Brenda, this goes to you, so I'm going to compliment you on this. I love to read it aloud. the rhythm in this, and I think that's part of it too. And I think children's books read aloud, they are sharing an experience, and that becomes something else. That's a whole nother thing about children's books. They aren't necessarily read in isolation, even though a child will come into a room and pick up a physical book and sit down with it. But a lot of times you might want to read it aloud. That's where the play comes in too. It's musical,
And I think what I said before about the pop-up, how they want to push on the page to see what's under it, what's next. Truly, that's the essence of your story, is about now what. And you look at the two main characters, and they are different. They're truly alike. Isn't that really what we're doing, is we're pushing all of the stuff on the outside away, and we're saying, you see just like me, you feel just like me, you know just like me, and we both can dance just like me. And isn't that what we're saying? We want to push away that outside essence of everything, and we want to be able to see and feel the core of our being. And isn't that what the connection of joy and delight of childhood is about?
Yes, because they don't see differences as much as we do, right? So we don't come into the world seeing things as different. We come in, and our essence relates to everything that is in the world. And all these, other children that we come upon as children, they're just like us. And we are sometimes taught to see differences, but we don't innately, I think, see differences. And so that is one of the really the things that we wanted to have the book embody as well.
I think that's so vitally important what you just said, Brenda, because it's what we teach our children. And now that we've closed the book on all of the old ones, and we're now into New Age, it's time to rewrite the stories with freedom and be able to say, this is what I feel, and delight in that something differently. And truly, as elders are reading the books to children, it has to be triggering those grandmothers or grandfathers and say, that wasn't the way I remembered or how I did it. And I would ask grandmothers and grandfathers, please keep your stories out of it if they feel jaded, and allow the children to speak freely, because you're creating and you're starting new stories every day. Just as you say in the book, living for the moment, the present moment today. It's not about what we did in the 30s, 40s, and 50s and 60s, people. We don't need to drag that into today so that you can feel connected to the child. It's about what we're doing today the kids will remember. Don't you think?
I would agree with that. And it's you're right. I think children today are different from the children that we were growing up. And certainly there's some connections that'll be drawn that'll be nostalgic for the grandma reading it, because we do have them make a spaceship out of boxes. So that part is certainly goes back, but I think in every other way it's the children are different today, and I think it's a good thing. There's a different sensibility.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's who they are, or if it's the environment they're raised in, or is it a different? Are we different beings?
Yes, we are. We're different beings. We've spoken about that so many times over the past decade on this radio show, is that as we evolve as humans, a lot of our old baggage disappears. We no longer are engaged in all of that heavy stuff. And the new children that are coming in now, they're not coming in with the old baggage. They're coming in as new souls. You know how you would always hear the conversation, oh, you're an old soul. And, you feel like you can talk to them forever because they're an old soul, because they've got all the old stories with them, But these little young ones, they don't have any of that. So we really don't want to put upon that, to have them engaged in that space and time, because they would just do such a disservice to both the reader and the person listening.
Right. They can discover this together.
Yeah.
Well, you have a clean slate,
Yes.
An open mind.
I can also remember, I'm a type person who just, as y'all have shared today, and you said about the differences, I really don't see differences. I've been like that my entire life. I don't see black or white. I don't see race. I don't see gender. I don't know. And my husband would always say to me, he says, man, you got to come back into the real world. You're going to have to exist here someday. And I said, don't pull me back into your reality, because I kind of live in that space and time where I just see something deeper on a deeper level. And I think truly also these New Age children books are very essential for elders, because elders have had a lot of hurt, pain, shame, and guilt over the way they've lived their lives. And they've got a lot of it stored up, and they're pretty angry and they don't want to die. They're pretty angry and they don't want to tell people. They're pretty angry and they don't want to let go and maybe just unconditionally love to be able to pass through. And when they're able to engage with a child, with a New Age children's book, and if we allow the elder can truly just sit in silence with their own book, perhaps, and write their own journal inside of that book of how their life unfolded. Especially this book, Now What? There are so many dreams that have been crushed and by default gone away that wouldn't anyone, over the age of 65 even, say, my gosh, I just want to hold this. I could just write something how I felt. I wanted to write things down before. I didn't know how, but maybe this is a journal for elders to say, write down your dreams, write down your hopes. What did you see? What did you feel? Because we've all been there, right?
Yeah, and I wonder, too, I think if I'm hearing you correctly, it's in each part of the book, or it could be any good child's book where you have these opportunities.
Yes.
Each page, the reader's sort of writing their own little story. They're coming right out of it. They're finding different things. They're starting to see things in different ways. Hopefully that's what we do as authors and illustrators, is not give such a finite solution to here's what we want you to think, but instead, here's a place for you to start your own thought.
Yes. Truly, it's like what I call, they are almost like open window books, You open the window and you have no idea what's out there, When you get up in the morning, you think that you know, but you really don't know. And, you step outside and you have another wonderment. You close your eyes and then you open them again and something else is there. So it's really about being able to say, the world is ever evolving, and can we dance in that energy, in that space and time? That's what we want children to do. Don't you think the characters in the book, Brenda, is that truly they are saying, hey, we're just going to flip through our stuff, see what's here, enjoy it. We're going to go to the next, enjoy it, and then we'll find something else. In other words, they were never defeated. They were always in joy of the moment.
Absolutely, and we have had some people read it and think and see that the children think that they're bored and that they are constantly needing, that they're very needy, but they're not. They're not bored. They're never bored, right? And and things don't always go right, and sometimes there are choices that are made that need to be, another choice needs to be made now for the better good of all, right? Yeah. So there's little lessons, but it's an exploration. And one of the things that was our intention is that the children, that what they're doing in this is very relatable to all ages. We set out to do something that touches everyone. So when you speak of the children and the elders, and we're hoping that the scenarios that happen in the book, some of the emotions that come up, some of the questions that are asked, and the visuals and things, we're hoping that it's so relatable to everybody so that they can have that experience together and be open.
Yeah. Well, in closing, I think that what we really want to say about children's books these days is for a parent to be able to get it and read it to the child, and then when the child's old enough to read it, but also to take it to local facilities and read it, assisted living, hospitals, other groups of children, read to their younger kids, read to the older kids. You never know what it's all about. I mean, wouldn't it be an absolute wonderful graduation present to give to someone, was their children's book that they wrote stories in, you know? Mm. So I think the idea is that can we start to put some more value on a hardcover child's book as we can see how the child has evolved? Isn't that a wonderful piece of history for the child?
Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful.
Love giving children's picture books as graduation gifts for kids. To me, that's one of the best places, because I think a good children's book, you know, it's funny when we put these together and it says age 3 to 8. Let's be real. A lot of times it's age 80,
90,
right,
90, 108.
Right.
You pick it, and it should hopefully touch that child and all of us. And it sounds cliche, but what I guess I'm really going to is it should be that direct. The messaging should be the same for an adult as it is for a child. I think we just forget about it when we get older. We forget what's important, or to, like we say, be in the moment, see what's around you, grab it, and that's your opportunity. Have it define you.
It was really great to have you, Peter and Brenda, with us today. Could you share more information about the books and where they are available, your website and stuff?
Sure. First of all, they are available anywhere books are sold. Hopefully they have it in stock in enough Barnes & Nobles and so on. You can also get it online through bookshop.org or through Amazon. So the books are available there. And there's actually it's the fourth book we've done with these characters, or with the Lizzie character. The others are part of the It's Just So series. So we have 3 books that preceded this before we did Now What. Mm-hmm. And then you can also, to learn more about the books themselves or to contact us, go to lizziesworld.com. And you can connect with us there.
And Brenda, can you also share about the teacher guides and about Lizzie books for visually impaired? Because I think that's extremely important also.
Okay, yeah, the teacher guides, we are super excited. They were professionally put together, so they go with all the education standards. So we're covering all those bases. But the teachers get to really dive in with the kids and explore the things, a lot of the things that we've talked about today, and relate them to their own lives. All of our books have a big social, emotional learning aspect to them. That's where we stem from. We really want to connect with the kids in those emotional ways, and so that they can explore themselves. So yeah, the teacher guides are great, and then we love to come in and also talk to the kids, which is wonderful. I'm going to turn you over to Peter for the audio, the visually impaired on these, because he knows a lot more about how that all.
Yeah, we were brought an opportunity to have our books narrated by a company called they're video books is what they are, but they're for the visually impaired, so that they can hear the book with a narration describing what the pictures are as you're going through it. And they've done a wonderful job on them. And they've made the books available through, because of federal funding through the Department of Education, the books are available to all the libraries and schools. And but the company's called Video Books, Imagination Video Books. And we'll have a link on our site as well, so it'll take you over there so that you can connect that way. And it's free. It's just available free so that it can be narrated for children.
But I do want to stress that within our books, we wanted them to be something that you could experience just through your ears, right, just through auditory, and not have to see the images. And we also wanted to be able to have it something that you could see and also understand the story and get the richness there. So we, it can go, it can live without the pictures. It can live without the sound.
Yeah. Yes, absolutely. And that's what I loved about the book. And I think that takes us right full circle back to the beginning of our discussion today. It's about what could we create and leave it open to potential. Where is the alchemy on this page? Even if, they're having a difficulty reading the words, you've seen kids open up a book and they'll tell you the story in their own words just by moving their hand across the page or feeling the energy, or perhaps just picking up something that they may have known and they'll create a whole new story. I think that's really the gift of a child, and how can we nourish that in all generations? That's truly what we're talking about today. So I hope, Brenda and Peter, that people will take this opportunity to be able to say, I might be helping my child do this. However, it's also helping me and helping me to heal, helping me to open up to my own soul and spirit, and helping me to see that things are not so rigid in the world around me, and how can I become just that free spirit as my child is, don't you think?
Yes, beautiful. And write us, tell us about it. We'd love to hear it.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah, please, for anybody who gets the book or wants to know more, do reach out, please. We love to hear, and we love it when children write to us, and they'll send us a picture. I mean, oh my gosh, yes. That's the best. Then you know you've made the connection. That's the fun part of all this.
It was such a pleasure to have you both with us here today. We really thank you so much for sharing. And perhaps maybe you'll come on when you have some more books to publish, and we'd love to have you.
We'd love to be back. Thank you so much.
Sounds wonderful. Thank you so much.
If you'd like to find out more information about Brenda Faatz and Peter Trimarco, again, their book is Now What? Please do click on the link on the bottom of today's show page to go directly to their website for more information. And do check out all of the resources there. If you are a teacher, if you have someone who has special needs and needs the audio book, or if you need someone who just needs to connect as an elder, we've just given you so many options in the show today to be able to say this book is absolutely wonderful. I just need to have it because I want to open myself up. I want to connect with others, and I want to be able to see the world in a different way. It's been just too hard these times, and it's a great time to be able to see what kind of magic is out there. So thank you so much for joining us today. This is Dr. Jeanette-Gallagher. Until tomorrow, have a great day.
Today we discussed many life-changing concepts. Who do you turn to, and how do you know what is best when faced with a health crisis? Dr. Jeanette is a patient advocate. She listens to the patient, the doctors, and the family, clarifies the health issues and concerns, then helps the patient make the best choices going forward. If you would like help implementing change into your life and health, we can talk and see where you are stuck and how to improve the quality of your life. Check the link on the bottom of today's show page or visit dr.jeanette-gallagher.com to schedule a phone appointment today.